Hello, my dear young friends. I'm Clive Staples Lewis. My friends call me Jack, so I hope you will too. I'm absolutely delighted to meet you all as you begin this extraordinary journey through the wardrobe and into Narnia. You know, when I first wrote about Lucy stepping through that old wardrobe, I never imagined that decades later, children like yourselves would still be discovering the magic hidden behind those fur coats. I wasn't always a famous author, you know. I was once a boy, much like yourselves, with a tremendous imagination. My brother Warnie and I created our own imaginary worlds. I had a land called Animal Land, filled with talking beasts and adventures. Perhaps that's where my love for talking animals in Narnia truly began. We would spend hours drawing maps, writing stories, and creating histories for our make-believe countries. You're about to become your own Inklings Society, just like the group of friends I belong to. The Inklings were a gathering of writers and thinkers who met regularly at a pub called the Eagle and Child in Oxford, and sometimes in my rooms at Magdalen College. We'd read our works in progress aloud to each other. I shared early drafts of Narnia, and my dear friend Tolkien read passages from what would become The Lord of the Rings. And what made the Inklings special wasn't just that we were writers, but that we believed in the power of story, myth, and imagination to reveal deep truths about life, goodness, and what really matters. We encouraged each other, offered suggestions, and celebrated each other's creativity. In your class, you'll be doing exactly what we did, sharing your own creative works in your Inkling journals, offering kind and thoughtful feedback to classmates, and discovering together how stories like Narnia can teach us about courage, friendship, sacrifice, and becoming the people we're meant to be. Now let's answer some questions I'm frequently asked. Perhaps you've wondered about these things as well. Why did I write the Narnia books? The Narnia books began with a picture that came into my head, a faun carrying an umbrella and parcels in a snowy wood. I had no idea who he was or what his story might be, but that image of Mr. Tumnus stayed with me for years. Eventually I began to wonder, what if there were a world where it was always winter, but never Christmas? What if children could stumble into this world by accident? The stories grew from there, but truly, I wrote them because I wanted to tell the kind of story I myself would have loved to read as a child. I'm asked what the Inklings meetings were like, and oh, they were marvellous. Picture this, a group of friends gathered around a fireplace or in a cosy pub, with tea steaming and biscuits on the table, listening as someone reads aloud from their latest chapter. We'd interrupt with questions, gentle suggestions, and sometimes spirited but kind debate. Tolkien might say, "Jack, I think your talking horse needs more personality." And I might suggest he add more songs to his Hobbit tale. We believe that good stories are made better when shared with friends who care about excellence and truth. How can we be like the Inklings in our class? That is a splendid question. First, remember that everyone expresses creativity differently. Some of you will share wonderful stories, others beautiful drawings, perhaps creative collages, dramatic readings, or even songs. The Inklings valued all forms of creative expression. Most importantly, we must create what I call a safe harbour for sharing. This means when someone shares their work, we listen with our hearts as well as our ears. We offer what I call sandwich feedback. Something encouraging first, then perhaps one gentle suggestion if asked for, then more encouragement. Never, ever should sharing feel scary or shameful. Remember, there are no silly ideas in our Inkling circle, only brave souls willing to share their imagination. The goal isn't perfection, but courage. Courage to create, courage to share, and courage to grow together. When we make sharing safe and encouraging, magical things happen, just like in Narnia itself. What's the most important thing about Narnia? Ah, that's easy. It's not really about magical creatures or enchanted wardrobes, though those are tremendous fun. Narnia is about discovering that you have courage you didn't know you possessed, you learning that true strength often comes through sacrifice for others, and understanding that even in the darkest winter, spring will come again. Each of you has your own Narnia to discover, your own journey of becoming brave, kind, and wise. How did your friends influence your writing? Enormously. Tolkien convinced me that writing fantasy wasn't just for children. It could carry the deepest truths. Charles Williams taught me about the thin places where the everyday world touches something magical. Owen Barfield challenged me to think more deeply about the meaning behind my word. Without the Inklings, I doubt Narnia would have existed at all. Good friends make us better than we could ever be alone. Now, let's talk about your Inkling journals. What should you put in your Inkling journal? Whatever captures your imagination and feels interesting or important to you. Some of you might love writing stories or poems about brave mice or talking trees. Others might express yourselves through drawings, perhaps sketching the lamppost in the woods or designing your own Narnian creature. You could create collages using magazine pictures, write songs about your adventures, even write letters to the characters. I knew Inklings who expressed their creativity through dramatic readings, map making, or philosophical wondering about big questions. There's no wrong way to be creative. The beauty is that when we share these different expressions, your drawing next to someone's poem next to another's song, we all see the story through new eyes. Your journals are your place to explore, experiment, and most importantly, to share safely with friends who will celebrate your unique creative voice. Here are some guidelines to help make our group a warm and supportive environment. In our Inkling circle, we promise to listen with wonder, not judgment. Celebrate each other's courage to create and share. Remember that every creative expression is a gift from someone's heart. Offer encouragement first, suggestions only when asked. Understand that there are many ways to be creative: writing, drawing, singing, performing, wondering. Keep our sharing circle as safe and welcoming as Mr. Tumnus's cozy cave or the beaver's home. Sometimes children are worried about what will happen if someone doesn't like their creative work. To that I say, oh my dear child, in all my years with the Inklings, I learned that the bravest thing isn't creating perfect work, it's sharing imperfect work with love and hope. Even if someone doesn't connect with your particular style, they can always appreciate your courage and imagination. Remember, Tolkien and I wrote very differently, but we celebrated each other's unique gifts. Your creative voice matters precisely because it's yours and no one else's. Other children sometimes ask, what if I'm scared to share my writing or art? I remind them that's perfectly natural. Even we grown-up Inklings felt nervous sharing new work. The secret is to start small. Perhaps share just one drawing or one short paragraph. When you experience the warm encouragement of true friends, it becomes easier the next time. Lucy was frightened stepping through the wardrobe, but she discovered wonderful things on the other side. Remember, dear ones, you're not just reading about Narnia, you're joining a tradition that stretches from my Oxford rooms to your very classroom. The Inklings believe that the best stories change us, and I have no doubt that your journey through the wardrobe will do exactly that. Now then, shall we see what adventures await beyond those fur coats?